the book is outstanding, and you know it's more than just sitting across from you and you telling your story is one thing, but this long, detailed history of how you became to be the person you became. I think it's very educational for people because they can realize like, oh, he wasn't always this guy. This is what's fucked up about people. Like you see a guy who's like you who runs, I mean, how many ultra marathons did you run in a row? You ran some insane number.
I think it was, I ran 800s in 8 weekends in a row.
Just stop and think about that, ladies and gentlemen. 800s means 8 100-mile races. 8 weekends in a row. A 100-mile race will put you out for fucking 6 months. Right. You know, and you ran 8 of them, 8 weekends. It's a fucking insane accomplishment.
It was nuts.
You think about a person like that, you think of them as in this like static, fully formed version. Right. You don't usually get to see, and especially someone like you who you went into so much depth about your rise and fall and rise and fall. It wasn't like a straight linear process between you getting inspired and then you becoming this bad motherfucker.
No. Even me right now to talk to you, I'm in the car for a fucking hour getting pumped up because I'm a shy, introverted, leave me alone type of guy. Like I'm still that motherfucker who is 6 years old, you know, at a play who can't say his line because I know I'm going to stutter in front of 5 people. So I walk off the stage. That's still me. So every day I'm fighting that dude. So people think, oh my God, man, you're on a podcast. You look so crazy, so evil. No, I'm trying to be locked into Joe. So my mind isn't veer off saying, let's run out the damn door because people are watching me on the fucking podcast. I want to open this damn door and get the hell out of here, man. So that's the real me.
For people that see someone who's a beast, who's done great things, you just assume that they're different than you. Right. But then you hear about your insecurities and your pitfalls and all the things that went wrong with you, and you realize, well, God damn it, those are the same things that go wrong with me. Like maybe I have that inside of me and I've just never summoned it.
Right. Well, I used to look at my life from a different vantage point. And when you're in all the muck and you're just walking in muck and walking in muck and walking in muck, you don't see that if you look off to the fucking left of the muck, there's a sidewalk, brother. Get off of it. You have your head down looking in this muck. Once I saw the sidewalk, got the sidewalk, I got a little break. And I got a different vantage point. And then from the sidewalk, I found a cliff. Then I found a mountain. I got way up high on top of my life and looked back down on it and said, okay, I got to figure this out, man. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so fucked up. It was so wrong. It was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare. A whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, Goggins. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training for the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You have the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't have to learn, they didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what from now on, it sets me apart from most people.
Because a lot of people, when they think about working out, they think of it as being a physical thing.
Right, no. I did it for mental.
Yeah.
People always say, my God, like, no, don't look at it like, I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest person. I wasn't making the Olympics. I wasn't going to pros. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callous over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I got to start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's going to build me. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't want to do that. So I made this long list of things I don't want to do. And through that, I found myself. I started, I'm like, you guys aren't doing this shit in high school. You guys aren't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running over here in this golf course. So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem.
Now, is this something that you learned? Is this something you learned yourself from exercise yourself? Or is this something you had read or heard about? Like, what made you equate doing this and doing these difficult things physically to mental toughness, to being, this is the discipline that you need in order to get your life out of the situation you're in?
I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle, and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's where I started coming up with, like, I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for, like, to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it.